Hogwarts Legacy delighted us all with an engaging combat system, a huge castle, an overworld to explore, puzzles, and some truly unforgettable quests. Perhaps one of the most surprising elements of the game that ended up being one of the best aspects is, without a doubt, the Room of Requirement. The Room of Requirement is a secret room that serves as the player's central hub throughout the game, offering a lot of customizability, respite from the chaos of the wizarding world, a sanctuary for tamed beasts, and a place to produce items you will need on your journey. The room is your space to make your own, so today I want to provide a few tips for those who want to truly get the most out of their Room of Requirement. So let's start by going over how you actually unlock the Room of Requirement, since it's not immediately available when you begin the game.
This is the Room of Requirement.
If you have already unlocked the room, feel free to use the timestamps provided to skip past this section. The Room of Requirement can be accessed upon completion of the main story quest, The Room of Requirement. This quest appears after you complete the first ancient trial. For this quest, Professor Weasley wants you to meet her in the Astronomy Tower, and when you arrive, the door to the Room of Requirement magically appears before you. The interior of which is initially presented to us as the Room of Hidden Things, that looks like a dusty old storage space full of miscellaneous goods. The Professor leads you through the area searching for a house elf called Deek, teaching you the vanishing spell Evanesco in the process, one of 3 essential spells needed to manipulate the Room of Requirement. You then meet the lovable Deek, who explains how the room changes based on the Seeker's needs, and your need for a private space transforms the room into the Room of Requirement blank canvas to work with. You are then introduced to the Desk of Description, which is one of 3 utility items available for the room that can be used to reveal any magical properties of unidentified gear. This is followed by learning the Conjuring spell, which will allow you to create objects to place inside the Room of Requirement. Finally, you can speak to the Professor again to learn how to change an item's form using the Alteration spell. You now have all 3 Transfiguration spells needed inside the Room of Requirement, and you also have all the basic information needed to begin making this room a valuable base of operations. The first thing you need to know about the room is that you will need a resource ingredient known as Moonstone in order to conjure placeable objects. Moonstone can be found throughout the world or gained when using Evanesco to vanish objects already inside the room. The larger the object, the more Moonstone you will need to conjure it. Thankfully, the room comes with a few portraits already that you can vanish in exchange for Moonstone if you are short. However, there is an essential Spellcraft available for purchase in Hogsmeade that will automate the production of Moonstone. The Material Refiner is the second utility item available for the room, the Spellcraft for which can be bought at Tomes and Scrolls in Hogsmeade for 1,500 galleons. Once placed in the room, it will generate 10 Moonstones every 10 minutes, and a maximum of 3 refiners can be placed in the room. This means that you can effortlessly gain 30 Moonstones every 10 minutes. All you have to do is collect it and the next batch will begin production. The final utility item for the Room of Requirement is the Enchanted Loom, gained through questing. The loom enables gear upgrades providing that you have the materials, which goes hand in hand with caring for beasts, so more on that later. When it comes to customising the room, you can pretty much alter most elements using the 3 Transfiguration spells you were taught by Professor Weasley. The Conjuring spell creates objects, the Altering spell changes them, and Evanesco removes them. You can even adjust the bare bones of the room by changing the style and colours of the walls, ceiling, windows and floor. Each object you conjure to populate the room comes in 4 different style variations that correspond to each of the 4 Hogwarts houses. There's Scientific for Gryffindor, Botanical for Hufflepuff, Eclectic for Ravenclaw and Gothic for Slytherin. Once the object is placed in the room, you can then use the Alteration spell to change the size and colour. Admittedly, just 4 variations isn't much, but they are very different styles. You can stick to one style to demonstrate your house pride, or you can mix and match and change the room's ambience to suit your preferences. You can change the room's ambience by speaking to Deek, and you might be surprised at how much a change of lighting can affect the mood of your special hideout. This feature is unlocked after completing the Interior Decorating quest. Naturally, you can select one of 4 available ambiences. There's the default ambience that goes well with Gryffindor scientific decor, a natural ambience to complement Hufflepuff's botanical style, A moonlit ambience works well with the eclectic theme of House Ravenclaw, and a gloomy ambience is a great match for the gothic design intended for Slytherin. Of course, you don't have to stick to your house decor style, colours and ambience. It's definitely worth experimenting to see how items look under different lighting. When you open up the Conjuration screen, there are 12 types of items that can be conjured. Potion items, Herbology items, utility, furniture, decorations, and a bunch of furniture and decorations, all strangely organised under separate headings, such as wall hangings, artwork, rugs, seating, tables, statues and seasonal decorations. To get the most out of customising the room, it's best to try and unlock as many conjurations as possible, since these are the primary form of decoration for the room. Some conjurations are available straight away, but some are unlocked through specific missions and through finding hexagonal shaped collection chests that you can find throughout the game, often through following the butterflies. There are also purchasable spellcrafts in Hogsmeade for more practical conjuration items available that assist with the production of potions, resources and plants. Growing your own plants at potting stations and brewing potions at potion stations are the most significant element of productivity that can happen inside the Room of Requirement. Not everyone that plays Hogwarts Legacy will use plants intended for combat. I certainly didn't, except once out of curiosity. But ignoring potions is ill-advised, and this means there is a need to create ingredients, so herbology and potions go hand in hand. So let's start with potions. Potion making can be unlocked automatically after completing the Potions class main quest. Every potion recipe has its own set of ingredients that you must obtain through enemy drops, purchasing from vendors, or growing from seeds. Although there are 6 potions in the game, the only brew I would describe as essential is Wiggenweld potion. Wiggenweld is a health restoring consumable that only takes 15 seconds to brew, has ingredients that are easy to come by, and is gained during your first potions class, alongside the defense boosting Eridus potion. The remaining 4 potions available are Focus Potion, Maxima Potion, Invisibility Potion and Thunder Brew, and each come with their own effects. The recipes for these can be purchased from J. Pippin's Potions in Hogsmeade. All fun, but you can easily get through the game without the need for them. The only potion that truly matters is Wiggenweld. Brewing Wiggenweld potion requires Horclump juice, a harvestable clump of purple mushrooms nestled in raised dirt that can be found out in the open world or bought, and the healing herb Dittany leaves. Dittany leaves can be grown from Dittany seeds, which are provided for free when you attend your first Herbology class. Dittany leaves can also be bought at the Magic Neep in Hogsmeade, but I'm not sure why anyone would buy them when you can already grow them yourself for free. Of course, before you can plant or brew anything, you will need to explore the different types of potting and potion stations available for your Room of Requirement. Having more stations and pots producing items concurrently will increase efficiency. However, you only have access to small potion stations with space for a single potion at first, which costs only 2 Moonstone to conjure. This is a great starting point for potion making, but if you want to improve your room's capabilities, then you can always visit Tomes and Scrolls to purchase the spellcrafts for hopping pots and medium and T-shaped potion stations. Medium potion stations cost 1,000 galleons and have space for 2 potions to be brewed at once, whilst the T-shaped stations cost 2,000 galleons and have space for 3 potions. Although T-shaped stations are more expensive, it's definitely worth investing in a couple of these and 3 hopping pots. Hopping pots are a great addition to your Room of Requirement because they periodically produce a random potion that the player has unlocked, making them an excellent way of passively stocking up on potions you would not normally intentionally brew. For example, my T-shaped potion stations are primarily for brewing Wiggenweld, but the hopping pots provide the added bonus of being able to pick up additional potions without asking for ingredients. The Hopping Pot's spellcraft costs 3000 G from Tomes and Scrolls and consumes 30 Moonstones to conjure. Now let's move on to Herbology. For Herbology, you initially have access to small plant pots, and the ability to grow plants can be gained through participating in Professor Garlick's Herbology class. Unlike potions that require a fresh set of ingredients each time, growing plants just needs the initial seeds. Seeds can be purchased from the Magic Neep and Dogweed and Deathcap in Hogsmeade. Dittany, Fluxweed, Knotgrass, Shivelfig and Mallowsweet basic seeds can all be purchased at the Magic Neep. The most important seeds from here are definitely Dittany and Mallowsweet. Dittany, as previously mentioned, is a key ingredient for brewing Wiggenweld potion, whilst Mallowsweet is needed in great abundance to complete the many Merlin trials found in the open world. The rare seeds for the 3 combat plants can be purchased from Dogweed and Deathcap. These are Chinese chomping cabbage seed, mandrake seed, and venomous tentacular seed. Admittedly, I've never actively used combat plants. I never felt the need, but I can definitely see the potential in embracing this mechanic. Most basic seeds only need a small plant pot, but Chivalfig and Fluxweed will require larger pots. You can place different sized pots in the Room of Requirement once you purchase the potting table spellcrafts from Tomes and Scrolls. Keep in mind that the growth duration for each of your plants may differ. For example, Venomous Tentacular requires a large potting station and takes 15 minutes to grow. However, you can reduce the growth time of plants by using fertiliser. In addition to buying potting stations at Tomes and Scrolls, you can also purchase the Spellcraft for Composters and chopping stations. Composters periodically produce fertiliser, and chopping stations produce a plant ingredient. All in all, your Room of Requirement can, at the very least, become a regular stop to top up on Mallowsweet and Wiggenweld potions, and at the most, be an essential potions and herbology workspace. One of the main functions of the Room of Requirement is to provide a safe place for magical beasts that you rescue from poachers. Rescuing and caring for beasts inside vivariums within your Room of Requirement in return for resources needed to upgrade gear is certainly a highlight for many players. Beasts are first introduced at your first beast class at Hogwarts, where you learn how to take care of them. After completing the class and retrieving the helm of Urtkot for Lodgok, you will be summoned by Deek to the Room of Requirement to learn more about saving magical creatures. This forms part of the important The Elf, the Knapsack and the Loom quest, and once you return to the room with Deek, after being taught how to capture wild beasts using the knapsack, a greenhouse structure will appear before you. This peaceful sanctuary is called a Vivarium, and is a large open area for your beasts. You can then release them inside, which is a truly magical moment in the game, and care for them the same way you learnt to in Beasts class. When you brush and feed them, you will notice that they produce a resource, and Deek will show you how to put those resources to good use by introducing the Enchanted Loom to upgrade gear. The loom lets you apply traits to clothing to enhance certain aspects, such as damage protection against specific types of foes. A piece of gear's upgrade requirements will vary depending on its type and rarity, but if you make the most out of your beasts, then you will rarely find you don't have the resource needed. Resources can include puffskein fur, jobberknoll feathers, mooncalf fur, whooper feathers and more. I have to be honest here, the beasts are so adorable. If you deploy a ball inside the vivarium, they actually play with it. And I don't know if you've ever seen a baby mooncalf, but it is so bloody cute. Which brings me to my next point. Breeding beasts is actually quite easy. Obviously you need a male and a female of a specific beast species to produce a baby, and it doesn't take long either. Also, did you know that there are shiny beasts? Shiny beasts are rare variants of beasts that have an alternative colour and a star symbol next to their name. They can be rescued, petted, fed and bred like regular beasts. Of course, like most things in life, there are certain conditions and limitations with vivariums. Even though there are 13 different beast species you can capture, a single vivarium can only house 3 separate species and a maximum of 12 beasts at once. Thankfully, as the game progresses, you gain access to more vivariums, each with differing biomes and settings to accommodate different types of beasts and their preferred outdoor living conditions.
Seems the room thinks you need more space for your beasts.
Don't forget to fully explore each vivarium, since you will find hexagonal chests within containing conjurations of things that can be placed inside the vivariums. Brushing and feeding beasts is not the only thing you can do inside these vivariums. Spellcrafts exist that unlock essential placeable items such as the beast feeder, breeding pen, toy box and decorative structures. The beast feeder in particular is a great item to place in every vivarium. It costs 1,200 galleons from Tomes and Scrolls, and it will automatically feed your beasts. This means that you do not have to manually feed every beast. It really is such a joy looking after your magical creatures. And that's all folks. I do hope you found this video guide helpful. The Room of Requirement can offer a lot to players, and you will find that you can spend so much time decorating and caring for your beasts simply because it's so much fun. Anyways, I hope that I have at least provided a few useful tips to help you get the most out of your Room of Requirement. I've been Heather at Amalgam Mingle, and thank you very much for watching.